Our special call city council meeting of August 30th, 2018 is now called to order. Our first order of business is citizen comment. I have no speaker cards. Anyone care to speak and fill out a card after they speak? Very well. We'll now move to budget items. Consider resolution. Oh, excuse me. Before we do that, I just want to remind everybody of citizen comment. I'm speaking as a citizen comment. I'll fill out my card later. Just let everybody know to remember Friday night, the Longview Lobo football game is being televised on Fox Sports Southwest. The broadcast, I believe, starts at 8:30, and it's really good for our community. We get to showcase Longview High School and Longview community through a national or whatever the statewide television audience. So against Lufkin Panthers, which will be a very interesting game because it's a big rivalry. But remember that if you have nothing to do, go to the game. If not, tune in on Fox Sports Southwest and see a televised game of our Longview, one of our Longview football teams. I'm very proud of that. Okay, budget item. Consider resolution establishing city fees and charges for the fiscal year 2018-19. Mr. Bonds.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. I won't go over my presentation again that we showed on August 9th, but any of you had any questions or additional comments on the changes in fees, I'd be glad to take any of those comments or questions at this time.
Any questions, Mr. Bonds? Thank you. We'll now hold a public hearing on the proposed budget. Ms. Cohen.
You have to take action on that.
Yes.
Oh, we do take action on that one before the public hearing? Okay, is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing on proposed budget. Ms. Cohen.
Hi, thank you. State statute requires a public hearing be held on the city's proposed budget to ensure public feedback. The item to adopt the budget is next on the agenda.
This requires a public hearing which is now open. Any speakers? Public hearing is now closed. We will now consider an ordinance adopting the fiscal year 2018-2019 annual operating budget. Mr. Bonds.
Yes, and made the presentation on July 26th, and again, have that available, and all the directors are here if you have any questions on the budget.
Any questions of our directors or Mr. Bonds? Is there a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public hearing on a proposed tax rate. Ms. Cohen.
Thank you. This is the second of the two required public hearings on the tax rate. The proposed tax rate totals 50.99 cents. The vote to adopt the tax rate will be next Thursday, September 13th at 300 West Cotton. This is a public hearing.
Next Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now, correct?
2 Thursdays, sorry
Okay.
about that, yes.
2 Thursdays. Okay, very good. This does require a public hearing, which is now open. Any speakers? Public hearing is now closed. We now consider a motion to ratify the property tax revenue increases reflecting the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget.
When a budget will raise more revenue from property taxes than the prior year, a separate vote of the governing body to ratify the property taxes required by the local government code. This year's budget will raise approximately $648,000 more in revenue.
I move to ratify the property tax revenue increase reflected in the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Cohen. Now to an action item. Consider a resolution adopting the Longview Economic Development Corporation's 2018-2019 budget. Mr. Mansfield, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just say real quick, since I was a fan of wrestling, Mid-South Wrestling growing up, I always said 10 minutes of remaining television time. So I will be brief. But a couple of slides that I did want to point out through here. Part of the budget is adoption of our strategic plan going forward. Three planks really form the budget or the plan. Primary jobs, that is our main focus. That is where we're geared to bringing new jobs here to Longview. The next part is business retention, expansion, and workforce development. That's absolutely critical part of it. And then, of course, the third part is the community, which is primarily the trails project that we've been working on. If you want to really review the plan in detail, you can get with me, but this maps out our strategy going forward and how we hope to attain that through the primary jobs, business retention, and through the community. And then for our budget. I want to give a quick year in review. We generated 18 proposals. We had 8 site visits. So our proposals were down a little bit this year, but our site visits were up. So that means we're getting better quality and we're getting more laser focused of getting people here to Longview to see what we have. Almost 500 new jobs created this past year, and a total capital investment of just over $88 million. So what do we have going forward? Right now, we're working on 9 new projects. In fact, we just got one in the other day. 6 are FDI, foreign direct investment projects, so we continue to push that initiative as well. The potential jobs with all of this is over 1,400 and nearly $350 million in total capital investment. So we push these projects very hard. We're very aggressive with this. Our revenue looks strong this year. You can see we're up right at 500,000. Thank you, Angela. And our revenue fund interest is increasing too. So our revenues increased from just over $5 million to $5.5 million. Again, our primary jobs, so these are our expenditures moving forward. You did see our increase for proposed budget this year of a little over 48,000, 50,000. In industry, this is our marketing effort. This is really the bones of it. This is the meat of it on how we market Longview in our community. Retail, we stay the same. It's still a focus for us because that feeds us. Sales tax revenue feeds us. But we're still wanting to do some things here and get some things accomplished in retail before we move that up too. The talent, that's our workforce development projects. That is our contribution to the Longview Public Transit system. And then G&A, and you'll see that the G&A did increase slightly. A lot of those expenses were incurred from increases in things like insurance. We all know that's an issue going around everywhere. The insurance is actually like the 6,500 category is like for our DOE insurance. And then professional services, those are our fees for legal, accounting, and audit. Maintenance in the business park remains steady. And then our debt service funds, these are bond payments for the bond issue we did a year and a half or so ago to pay for the Trails program. And then you'll see our office FF&E stays the same. And then real property, one of the things that we're looking at is to get more investment ready in our industrial parks and go ahead and start preparing some of these sites that people can go in and really start to work. And then our capital funds project. This is something we started this past year and moving into a true capital funds budget separate from our operating budget. You'll see the trails listed there. We're looking at the possibility, we started this last year, but moving down the path of looking at a potential spec building, actually working with a German prospect right now that may even be looking at taking that building if we move forward, working on some numbers there, and any other potential capital projects. Now this is just left there as a safeguard in case something else comes up, but that does require board approval. So if we get something, I have to take it to the board. It's not just an open checkbook. So you'll see there the funds balance out. One thing I did want to point out, we were talking about it earlier on the trails. So you'll see this is our bond payments. Our payments for the trail system, our bond funds will expire. The grant funds kick in the next following fiscal year. And we will complete the project, I hope, Roland, by 2021. And we will be responsible for around $2 million after all is said and done from LECO funds to carry that project out. So in summary, we had a great year this year, but it's going to be better. We're going to be very proactive, very aggressive, 10% growth in revenues, but even the budget, even though we've increased some categories, we're still only 18,700 over last year's budget, and we're still putting almost $2.5 million in our reserves. So I hope I made the under.
You did good, Wayne. Wayne, first off, I want to congratulate you and your board. Your focus on primary jobs, business retention, and community development are right where we need you to be, and the way you're balancing that is very good. Your primary job search is always out there. Your business retention is spot on as anytime we can. But I like the way that you're also developing the community relation by showing the taxpayers that we do spend some of that money back into quality of life issues, things that make our community a much better place to live. And I applaud you and your board for having that foresight to do that. I know you said the proposals were down at 18 this year, but our site visits were up to 8. doesn't matter how many proposals we get, it's those site visits that make the
Exactly.
difference. So as long as those are up, we're in good shape. And I hope that
Exactly.
continues because those are the ones that are looking for us and looking to possibly come here. So I think you've done a great job, 497 new jobs this year. That's remarkable. I think you're well over 2,000 or so in the last 3 or 4 years. So we're really continuing that trend to provide jobs in the community. And I appreciate the effort that you and your board are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Any
Appreciate
questions
the
for Mr.
confidence.
Mansfield?
I wanted to publicly acknowledge LEEDCO as well. You're doing a great job, Wayne. Thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray. Is there a motion to approve this budget?
I move that we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Mansfield. Thank you very much. Council, before we adjourn, just a note of sadness, I want to say a few things. It's been a very difficult week for the Longview Police Department. I want to take this time to remember the lives of Officer Stedman Coleman and of Chief Don Dingler. Stedman Coleman served as a Longview police officer since 2013. Officer Coleman died this past weekend following a one-vehicle crash while he was off duty. His young daughter was also in the car, but thankfully she survived the accident. Please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. His wife, Grace Coleman, is also a Longview police officer. And Chief Don Dingler began his service with the Longview Police Department in 1973, and over the years he served in almost every capacity within the department until becoming the chief in 2011. When he retired in 2015, he had served this community for more than 40 years. We received word this morning that Don passed away at his home yesterday. On behalf of the City Council, Longview Police Department, and the entire community of Longview, I ask that you join me in a brief moment of silence as you remember the service and the lives of Stedman Coleman and Don Dingler. Thank you very much. Gentlemen, you'll be missed, but you will never be forgotten. With that, this meeting is adjourned.